it survive? If there's no river or the river dries, the fish will not be there. So we are the fish in the place, and we make effort to make sure that the power sector survives. And that is why we go a very long way in telling government, please do this, do this, do this, so that the power sector will survive, so that we'll have a place to work. And apart from working there, we'll have power in our homes, because before we come to the power sector, we'll need electricity in our homes. So that is basically the way it is. The point is that, unfortunately, Ikeja distribution also owns Egwe. And in these two power sectors that belong to the chain, they are not supposed to. One investor should not have a power station as well as a disco at the same time. But we have closed our eyes that we don't understand that the federal government is not doing the right thing there. We don't want to talk about that. But for now...
Isn't that the one you should be protesting about?
No, we have only talked about it, made our recommendations, said what and what that should be done for the power sector to go on very well. We've done that. We submitted even papers, how the diversifications could be done, and how the investors should know that labor is a creation of the law of this country, and whoever does not want labor to survive in any place, or does not want to listen to labor, or does not want to dialogue with labor, is breaching the law of this land, and as such is not supposed even to operate.
Does the law setting up labor give labor the right to shut down a national asset?
It gave them the right to go on strike to enforce their demands when every other thing have failed.
Yeah.
Every other thing have failed.
To go on strike, but not to shut down national assets.
That is really...
We are not... how do you draw... where do you draw the line? You were giving me example of what was happening in UK, that when labor goes on strike, that along the line, even the train will stop you, even at the next train bus stop, and then say that labor is on strike. That is shutting down the train stations. So if labor is on strike, one of the things that may happen is that the system may go down.
Now,
so for those of us in the engineering profession, we will insist that make sure no equipment is damaged, because that is our support.
Well,
we can't
like I said,
it.
you need to match your actions with your words. Because let me tell you the direct.
I want to give you an example of what we have done to make sure that the power sector survives.
Let me give you an example, a practical consequence of your actions. Most discos will not be able to meet the market operators bill this month.
If they have ever met it before.
And this includes a code disco has always done.
Yes,
but you know what you've done to us? We couldn't even have the nerves to go and present bills, because they were going to mess up our guys. So from a peak of a certain amount, we were doing like a quarter of it. Now, how are you helping? And that's because you had a problem with Ikeja. And that's why I used the analogy when we were talking outside. It's like you don't like a rat in your house, so you set the house on fire.
No.
That is really what you have done.
No, that's not it.
And honestly, you guys must rethink your strategy, because this is about a reform. We all find ourselves at a juncture in the life of this country.
But what about when Labour has brought up its complaints and the government and the investors appear not to be listening to them?
Wait, please take the investors out of this. Hold on. Take the investors.
No. If we start on a wrong premise, we will land at the wrong place.
Take the investors out of this. The investors had a deal with the government. Do you know we could not even do what they call a shadow management period? When we were taking up the investments, we took a bid based on what they showed us in data room. That was when we put in our bids. We were supposed to do a 6-month shadow management period prior to takeover, when we go verify a lot of these assets that were supposed to be in the data.
Exactly. So there was no...
Thanks to Labour, no way.
Using everyday parlance, there was no due diligence performed.
We did a due diligence, or didn't allow us to verify. And no, it's the fact. And I'm not saying whether or not you were justified in doing it, but I'm just letting you know the consequence. This is why I'm saying rethink your strategy. Because what simply then happened was that Labour, protecting its members, said pay fully. All the severance payments, blah, 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 everything. And all what,
not
and
paid by the investors, but paid by government.
By government. That's what I'm saying. Until the last alert is received, we won't let anybody come in. So we could not go in. So when we went in was when we went in, well past the shadow management period.
By which time you were biting your fingers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's why I said, my Labour brothers, you please must rethink your strategy. Okay, we are in a reform mode.
Mr. Kwara, a question. Mr. Kwara, what is the situation with the Keja now? Have things been sorted out?
We are now discussing. The meeting we have never had, they have never allowed to hold since 2.5 years or 3 years. We are now holding meetings to resolve the issues. But we say, let's talk about this before it gets bad. Because they are the big people. They
it's bad
care.
already.
The heavy political heavyweights that can stamp down on anybody. Who are you? You must, you don't talk. Now we are now talking. If that is the only thing that will make the investor who feels that nobody should tell them the way it should be to listen, Labour will still do it again. But the point is this: we are not interested in that at all. Because we spend money, spend time, spend energy, and even lose salaries of our members in the process of picketing and all that. We are not interested in that. That's why we take time.
A lot of Nigerians
even
out
we
there.
We told the government, sorry please, we told the government long before now, some of these investors have never operated a business empire that is as big as this. Let them know that government still, they have 2 out of 5 directors. The government should still have 2 there. And the government is representing at least the masses, if no other person should do that. Government therefore tell them what obtains so that we can move on and we will also survive in the place as workers.
Is that the situation now?
Yeah.
Okay, so governments represent, but a lot of Nigerians out there believe that Labour has been the problem of the power sector, in that Labour, usually, members of Labour unions are actually the ones sabotaging the equipment, maybe fueled by political interests or outside influences. But so if it is true, which you can also tell us whether it's true or not, if it is true, how then would Labour now turn around and say, these people are not doing the things we say we should do?
First of all, Labour is not sabotaging the power sector. Because how can you, if you sabotage the power sector, where will you work? I'll go to breweries to work or where? No. Number 2, it is wrong to say so. The only thing that people don't understand most times, the position of Labour, because we don't have all it takes to make every Nigerian hear or follow. The important thing, what people want is that let there be light in the house. That's all. And of course, as far as power production is concerned, the man who should have power in his house, if he doesn't have it, no matter what you're doing there, behind the closed doors, it doesn't make meaning.
So if Labour is so interested in ensuring that there's power in the house, is it also liaising with the other unions that work on the pipelines to ensure that the pipelines are managed, maintained, and minimize vandalism as much as possible?
Let's talk about this vandalization which Labour is being accused of. How can Labour vandalize the system that is giving them food? It's not possible. To the best of my knowledge, I have led the Senior Staff Association for the past 6 years. It has never crossed our mind. Instead, find out from the days of Makoju, who was the MD at the time. Labour will spend its own money, go and mobilize members and say, let's go and bring revenue in. There was a time a total revenue that was coming was about 2 billion. Makoju said, please, gentlemen,